December 14th, 1881, Linderhof. Order another work by Jennings on the occult. Write urgently to Klug, saying that I insist that the stoppages by the bank cease. I want it, and therefore it must be done. Write very urgently. He must succeed at once, and then must report to me urgently. If I give orders to clear my room, doing so must not be postponed as it happened. Pencils must be pointed without special orders. The day after tomorrow, 1,000 marks. How is Louis now? I want to know whether he looks unhappy. How often have I said that the coffee must not come up boiling hot, so that it can only be drunk after standing an hour? If any more correspondence come from Louis, they are to be burnt immediately, but I am to be informed of their arrival. These are actual notes from Ludwig to his servants. They go far in... December 18th, 1881, Linderhof. Every day get up earlier for certain. See to that very particularly. Write it down. Remember that when the great friend arrives at Neuschwanstein, we retire to the hall. We are not to be disturbed. I will not tolerate interference or insubordination. Ludwig. Guten Tag.
Guten Tag.
Ist da Ludwigs Tagebuch im Museum?
Ja,
Wo kann ich Ludwigs Tagebuch hier anschauen?
die Tagebücher sind ganz persönlich. Die sind in den königlichen Archiven. Niemand darf die lesen.
Aber
Nein, niemand darf die lesen.
danke. Guten Tag.
Guten Tag.
Im Museum ist ein Brief von Ludwig über eine neue Wagner-Oper.
Ja, ich kenne diesen Brief.
Wo kann ich mehr von dieser Wagner-Oper sehen?
Ja, ich weiß nichts über Wagner. Das hier ist kein Wagner-Museum.
Ja, ich weiß.
In Bayreuth befindet sich ein Wagner-Museum. Versuchen Sie es halt doch, ne?
Bayreuth. Danke. Herr Huber?
Yes?
Are the Smiths in their room?
Ja, I believe so.
Could you ask them to come down, please?
Ah, ja, natürlich.
Now you just tell Merle what's going on.
I had a dream last night. I didn't remember it at first, but I saw something today at one of the museums.
What was the dream?
I was being chased in the woods by wolves. And I saw a sleigh. Ludwig was inside. He pulled me up, and I thought I was safe. But then he turned into a wolf.
So what do you think, Mother?
A dream of rescue is a spiritual guide dream. The High Priestess in Gabriel's cards must be linked to Ludwig somehow.
What do the wolves represent?
I'm a psychic, dear, not Freud. But the warning I got was about the black wolf, wasn't it? And the wolves in the dream. It must be the same danger.
It's so frustrating. The more I find out, the more questions I have.
Why don't you try a little communicating of your own? Ludwig's the link. Appeal to him. The answers may not come right away, but at least you'll give the guide something specific to say the next time she contacts you.
Isn't there any way that you could, do a psychic reading on Ludwig or something?
To tell you the truth, I've been trying all day to make contact, but I only feel great despair. Ludwig's soul is not at peace.
I'd better go.
Anytime you need us, stop by.
And be careful now.
Thanks. Hi, Gerda. I'm back. Good. Gerda?
Yes?
Have you heard from Gabriel at all?
No, Grace, I'm sorry.
Never mind.
Hello?
Hi, Professor Barkley. It's Grace.
Oh, good. I have a name for you. It's Herr Josef Dahlmeier, and he specializes in Bavarian history, and I think he's somewhere near you are.
Herr Josef Dahlmeier. Great, got a number?
Yeah, I do. It's 4982-555-2234.
Thanks a lot. Sorry about the bother.
That's no bother. When are you coming back to school, Gracie?
When I figure it out, I'll let you know.
Well, be good.
I don't want to bother.
Hallo?
Hallo, sind Sie Herr Josef Dahlmeier?
Yeah, you must be Grace Nakamura, the American history student.
Yes,
I hear you're interested in Ludwig II.
very.
Good. There's something I want to show you. Drive to Berg on Starnberger See. Meet me at the Memorial Chapel.
All right, thank you.
Oh, wait. Was there anything you wanted me to look into before we meet?
Well, I was hoping you knew something about someone called the Black Wolf. He was a contemporary of Ludwig's. He lived in Prussia, I think, and he was well connected.
Never heard of him, but I'll check. See you there.
Thanks. Bye.
At least I...
Grüß Gott.
Guten Tag. Ist das die Wagner Museum?
Ja, you're an American, aren't you? I'm afraid the house is closed this time of year. It will be open next month.
Crap.
You are interested in Wagner?
Very interested. Very recently very interested.
Yeah. Most of the house is closed for cleaning, but a few rooms are open. I shouldn't let you probably, but if it is only you, you are alone, aren't you?
Endlessly.
Come in and look over.
That's very generous. What do I owe you?
Georg Immerding. It's only a few displays. Besides, I wouldn't be much of a shining knight if I charged you.
Thanks, Georg. My name is Grace.
Hello. Have a good time.
Wagner's piano. On this piano, the maestro composed his later operas, including The Ring. Franz Liszt, composer and Cosima Wagner's father. Richard Wagner.
What's that book in the case?
Cosima Wagner's journal is locked up for preservation.
Huh.
Wagner souvenirs. Wagner souvenir. Opera costumes. Opera costumes. This must be a model of Wagner's own theater, here in Bayreuth. This must be a model of Wagner's own theater, here in Bayreuth. These look like production designs. These look like production designs. the great patron himself. Ludwig as the classical Greek hero. Ludwig's death mask. July 1882. Great and beloved king, Monsieur Beaujolais and I have finished the diagram. We checked the figures many times and Monsieur is confident that it will work. 8 identical fixtures are to be made from the diagram and placed in the theater exactly as specified. I'm sending the diagram with your courier. Be full of hope and have courage. All will be well. Your own, Wagner. June 10th, 1881, Munich residence. Great friend, I am writing to you in the middle of the night. My blood is pounding too wildly for sleep. Tonight's performance, how can I describe it? I am unsure whether to be terrified or thrilled. Perhaps I even feel hopeful. If it is hope, you have given it to me, my friend, for the first time in years. We must speak. Something happened during the music tonight, but I must have your absolute confidence. As you love me, come at once. Your devoted king, Ludwig. An old sofa. The death of Wagner. On Ash Wednesday, 1883, Wagner suffered a heart attack in a Venetian gondola on the way to Saint Michel. His wife and the gondolier carried him into a church where he regained consciousness. Wagner died 4 days later on this sofa. Wagner's death mask. Wagner's desk, exactly as it was on the day he died. It's a letter from a Monsieur Beaujolais, dated September 1881. Wasn't Wagner's Bayreuth Theater already built? Why would Wagner be worrying about acoustics?
What are you doing here if the museum is closed?
They always like to have a caretaker here. It's a good job for me. I can soak in the atmosphere of the maestro while I compose.
What are you composing?
This? Oh, a new arrangement. One of Wagner's pieces.
For the Bayreuth Opera?
No. I am only a student at the university. I study music, composition, conducting.
Is there much of a call for conductors in Europe?
Ask my brother. He is the conductor for the Munich Opera.
Well, that's convenient. Does that mean you get free opera tickets?
Yes. I get a week's pass to the Opernfestspiele, the opera festival in Munich. It starts in a few months.
Hope I'm still around to see it.
Come with me if you like. If you're still around, I can go backstage and all sorts of things.
I'd love that. If I'm still in Germany, I'll call you, all right?
Yeah, good.
Tell me about Wagner.
He was a character. He spent most of his life trying to convince rich patrons to subsidize his work. Unfortunately, he had expensive tastes. You see, he believed that someone of his genius deserved to live well. Can't argue with that.
But Ludwig II supported him, didn't he?
Yeah, sure, but Ludwig came along very late in Wagner's life. By then, he had already been run out of Venice and most major cities because of debt. Ludwig saved him. And the music. Best thing Ludwig ever did.
Do you know anything about that letter from Wagner to Ludwig in the display case? The one about the diagram?
Ah, no. Some sort of equipment for Ludwig's theater. But I don't know why Wagner would have cared about this. If he was worried about any theater, you would think it would have been his own theater, here, in Bayreuth.
Have you ever heard about the letter that Ludwig wrote to the Munich conductor in 1882 telling him to prepare for a new Wagner opera?
You're full of surprises for an American.
What do you know about it?
No one knows anything about it. It's like a treasure map, you know? It's probably a complete fairy tale, but it does make you wonder.
You have no idea what it could have referred to? Maybe something that Wagner was working on with Ludwig?
If there was, there's no trace of it. Except perhaps in the dreams of unemployed music students.
I don't have anything to... It's a memorial chapel. It's a
This is where he died. You must be Grace. Herr Dahlmeier.
Hello.
Josef. I didn't mean to startle you. I wanted you to see it. I feel him here the most, you know, more than at the castle. So, what did you want to know?
Professor Barclay says your hobby is Ludwig.
Yes. He was the last real king that Bavaria had. As a Bavarian and a history buff, that's enough to hook me right there.
But there's more, right?
He was a romantic, you know, a dreamer. And he was misunderstood, maligned.
Sounds like you can relate.
Me? Hell, I have it easy. At least I live in the 1990s. And not every eye in the country is on me. But yes, I can relate.
You know about Ludwig's diary, right?
Of course.
How can I get my hands on it?
I'm sorry. I have been trying myself for 5 years. They keep it locked up tight in the Royal Archives and they don't let it out. They must think it contains things that will hurt his image.
They won't let anyone see it, not ever?
Only one person outside of the government ever got to see it, a biographer, Sir Richmond Chapel. He had friends among the German royals and they let him look at it.
Did you ever try to contact Chapel? Pick his brain?
No, and I don't believe I never thought of that. If you do and you find out anything, you must share.
It's a promise. Tell me about Ludwig.
I don't know where to start. There's so much. Politically, the most significant thing about Ludwig II was that he signed over independent Bavarian statehood to Prussia in 1870. Bavaria became a part of United Germany, and Ludwig became a figurehead prince under the Prussian Kaiser.
Why do you think he did that?
Bavaria had been involved in the 100 Years' War. People were tired of fighting. Prussia's push to unite the German states made some amount of sense. Still, Ludwig must have had other options. At the very least, he should have negotiated better terms.
So what was the real reason?
He was manipulated by Bismarck. At least that's what I think anyway.
What about Ludwig personally?
You'll find two perspectives on Ludwig. The view the tourists get is the romantic ideal, Ludwig the tormented loner. Then there is the historian's point of view. Ludwig was plagued with guilt over his sexual orientation and was driven mad with self-loathing.
But I take it you're not buying either point of view.
Well, it's all too convenient, isn't it? That he was a devout Catholic, there is no question, and I'm sure there were pressures on him to be normal. But he was no prude. He loved Byron. Yes. Philosophy, the French court. If anything, Ludwig was too much an egomaniac. He didn't give a damn what anyone thought. And besides, he didn't try to hide any of his relationships. If he suffered from anything in his romantic life, it was disillusionment. No one loved him back as purely as he himself loved.
Well, if it wasn't sexual guilt that tormented him, what was it?
I don't know. His diary was filled with self-guilt, but I'm sure it's not about that. If I knew, I'd write my own book, set the record straight, so to speak.
Have you read anything about Ludwig's midnight sleigh rides?
Oh, would that have been something? To be out at night and suddenly see him sweep by with his entourage? They say the night agitated Ludwig, and that being outdoors and the rushing feeling of the sleigh calmed him down. Sometimes even the sleigh wasn't enough. He would stop in some remote woods, order his servants to stay put, and go wandering off by himself for hours. It drove the servants crazy.
Tell me about Bismarck.
Oh, Bismarck. He was the Prussian Kaiser's chancellor. Not a nice man. Bismarck had a reputation for learning people's weaknesses and manipulating them. It's a matter of record that he had spies on Ludwig's staff. He may even have had a henchman even closer to the king. And he was involved in the conspiracy to declare Ludwig insane.
Did you find out anything about the Black Wolf?
I did. I'd read about him before, but I hadn't realized that was who you were talking about. His name was Godin, Paul Godin. I found a reference to his being called the Black Wolf after you telephoned.
I've never heard of him. Who was he?
Godin lived on the fringes of the Prussian court. He was handsome, charming, dangerous, or so they say. He was variously rumored to have been a foreign prince, a Prussian spy, even an assassin. Since you were interested in him, I found out some things that are probably true. It said he came from abroad in the mid-1800s, but claimed high German blood.
Do you know where he came from?
No. And he was ruthlessly ambitious. He probably found out who held the power, Bismarck, and offered his services. Bismarck was a good judge of talent, of that sort anyway.
What else do you know about Godin?
He must have done something remarkable. Bismarck was not a generous man. He liked to string people along with promises, but rarely came through. He did for Godin, though. He gave him a royal title and lands in 1863. And that was the last reference I found to him.
Well, how could he just disappear?
It's not that unusual. Back then, when you were given a title, you usually changed your name and moved to a place where no one knew your past, so you could act with impunity, or be a pompous ass and get away with it.
Is there any way to find out what Godin was called after he got his title?
Is it that critical?
It might be.
Well, you could send away for a copy of the entitlement deed, assuming it has been destroyed during one of the wars. Godin's new name would be on it. But you would need a research permit from the government to access those records, and they can be very hard to get. A lot of red tape.
Great. What do you know about Ludwig's hunting accident?
A couple of years ago, I was introduced to this great old man, a real old world farmer. Well, his grandfather was Richard Horning, Ludwig's equestrian. Oh, he told some great Ludwig stories. Sometimes I get lucky. Anyway, he said that after the hunting accident, Ludwig got terribly ill, that he had a fever and was acting crazy. They were afraid that the wolf had been carrying a disease or that the bite had gone septic.
A wolf bit him?
Yeah, it's not so unusual. There were a lot of wolves in the Alps back then. The servants were really worried, but Ludwig recovered, physically anyway. Horning's grandfather said it was the fever that broke Ludwig's mind, that he was worse than ever after that.
What do you mean Ludwig got worse after the accident?
Ludwig always had been a very private person. But after the accident, he got darker, more crazy. Towards the end, he was even forcing his servants to enter his chambers bent over so they couldn't see his face. Horning's grandfather said his temper was fearsome. He would fly into a rage at the least mistake.
Must have been terrified of him.
Yes, well. Horning's grandfather felt sorry for Ludwig, and Ludwig hated his own violence. He was always giving gifts to his servants to apologize.
You mentioned that there were other reasons why Ludwig's servants feared him.
Ah, that's another of Horning's mysteries. There's a story about Neuschwanstein. Apparently, there was a period of time of 2 or 3 months when Wagner would come and visit him.
Wagner?
There. Yeah. The two would lock themselves in the singers' hall. Horning's grandfather said the sounds that came from there were awful. Well, the servants had superstitious minds anyway. Some of them quit over it, just walked away.
What kind of sounds?
Horning's grandfather called them heartbreaking and ungodly. Maybe it was Wagner trying to sing.
Well, I guess that's all for now. Thanks for your help.
It's my pleasure. And if you ever want to talk again, just give me a call. I'll meet you down.
I will. Thanks.
Servus.
Well, bye. This is where they found Ludwig's body. I wonder what it felt like under there. I don't think the guards want to be bothered while on duty.
Our tour begins in the entry hall. Ludwig II lived from 1845 to 1886. He assumed the Bavarian throne at the age of 18 when his father died. Ludwig's passion was building castles. He built 3 during his lifetime: Linderhof, Herrenchiemsee, and Neuschwanstein. Plans for a 4th castle, Falkenstein, were underway when he died. In addition to his obsession with building, Ludwig also had a passion for classical heroic German mythology, a taste he shared with the German opera composer Richard Wagner. Neuschwanstein is decorated throughout with themes from these stories, most of which directly relate to Wagner's operas. The paintings in this room are from the Siegfried saga.
These scenes are from the Siegfried saga.
The closed door leads to the tower, which is not part of the tour. The king was making his way to this very door when he was arrested in 1886.
I wonder if Ludwig really meant to throw himself from the tower the night he was arrested.
You are now standing in the king's bedroom. The theme of the bedroom is Tristan and Isolde, the tragic love story retold in Wagner's opera. The opera was given its first performance in Munich in 1865, and a 20-year-old Ludwig attended. This is probably the most elaborate and expensive bedroom ever created. It took 14 woodcarvers 4.5 years to create this room. It was this kind of extravagance that bankrupted the king. In the years before his death, he found it increasingly difficult to find money from any source.
Maybe Ludwig thought all this luxury would help him sleep. Did they have running water in 1886?
The richly carved bed, with its canopy, resembles a Gothic building and its turrets. The bed's draperies were handmade by dozens of Bavarian seamstresses.
Maybe I don't think the guards want to be bothered while on duty.
This is the king's living room. The walls are decorated with scenes from the Lohengrin saga. The king first saw Wagner's opera Lohengrin when he was 16, and it so affected him that he considered it a form of enlightenment. The tragedy of Lohengrin was his essential loneliness. This too was Ludwig's own fate. Ludwig withdrew more and more into his fantasy world of epic heroes and absolute monarchy, an ideal he was determined to create in his castles if he could not have it in his real life. He only wanted to be alone with his dreams, so much so that even his servants were kept at a distance and were not allowed to look at him.
What were you afraid they'd see? These linens look seriously expensive.
the miracle of the Grail.
More swans.
The swan motif is featured throughout the castle, but it is particularly prominent in this room. Both the swan and the lily were symbols Ludwig associated with himself. They represented his ideals of majesty and purity. The painting behind the swan shows Lohengrin's arrival. The swan motif, the painting behind the swan. This is a reproduction of the grotto from the Tannhäuser saga. In such places, Ludwig could pretend he was one of his beloved mythic heroes. As the grotto personifies, the castles were solitary playgrounds built for Ludwig alone. He believed the masses were too coarse to appreciate fine art, and he seldom entertained guests. In fact, Ludwig had a standing order that upon his death, the castles were to be destroyed. Fortunately, the estate was in such debt that the castles were opened for paying tours only weeks after Ludwig's death. They haven't closed since. It is one of the great ironies of Ludwig's story that the castles that he was thought insane for building are now considered Bavaria's finest treasures. They have paid for their construction many times over.
I can almost picture Ludwig in here. I wonder what he really...
This is the king's study. Ludwig spent much time at his desk writing letters, drawing up plans for his projects, and studying his favorite authors. He loved poetry, history, and the classics. In later years, he also studied the occult. What affairs of state he did reluctantly attend to were generally attended to alone at his desk and writing. His reluctance to meet with his heads of state and perform the duties of the king were one of the reasons for the charges brought against him in 1886. But Ludwig dreamt of true kingship and a true monarchy, and the small powers left to him after Bavaria succeeded power to Prussia only incited his disdain and frustration.
I don't think the guards want to be bought. I doubt there's anything left in there now. Besides, the guard would kill me if I touched it.
The study paintings depict scenes from the Tannhäuser saga and the Wartburg castle. This is the final room of our tour, the Singers' Hall. It was modeled after the Singers' Hall of the Wartburg Castle, where minstrel competitions were held in the 13th century. The hall was built for small private concerts, but Ludwig himself never gave one here. It is said that during the last few years of Wagner's life, he came to Neuschwanstein frequently and performed for the king alone in this room. The hall is probably best known for its enigmatic wolf paintings. The original paintings were from the Parsifal saga, but in 1882, Ludwig had them replaced, supplying the description and titles of the new paintings himself. The hunters tracked down Engelhard and Hildegunde. Engelhard courts Hildegunde. Engelhard and the Blacksmith.
There must be a story behind these wolf paintings. But what story? There must be...
This is the final room of our tour. The hall is Hildegunde's imprisonment. The wedding feast of Hildegunde and the Baron. The death of Engelhard.
Grace Nakam.
This is Ludwig's private chapel. The king was a devout Catholic, as were all of the Wittelsbacher rulers. They supported the Roman Church even when other European countries were dominated by Protestantism.
It's a beautiful crucifix, ivory and gold. The Black Madonna of Altadine. I wonder what her story is all about. Nice view of the Alps.
Ludwig's childhood castle, Hohenschwangau, is visible from the lookout in the Singers' Hall.
At least I have the car keys now. I'll write to Gabriel, soon as I have enough info to blow his little investigation out of the water. Ludwig remained throughout his life both very bright and in his youth a
Hallo, Bertel München.
Hi, I have a book of yours on Ludwig II. The author's name is Sir Richmond Chapel.
Yes, how can I help you?
Well, I'm doing some research on Ludwig, and I was hoping you could get me in contact with the author.
I'm afraid Sir Richmond Chapel is deceased.
Oh.
However, his son is living.
Oh. Well, is there any way you can put me in touch with him?
And who are you doing this research for?
Well, I'm working with Professor Barkley from Yale University.
All right. Thomas Chapel's number in England is 41 20 555 771.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Goodbye.
Bye.
Chapel residence?
Hi, my name is Grace Nakamura. I'm calling from Rittersburg, Germany. Is Thomas Chapel there, please?
Speaking. What may I do for you, Miss Nakamura?
This is gonna sound crazy, but I have a copy of your father's biography on Ludwig II. I understand he had access to Ludwig's diary.
Yes.
Well, oh God, I'm not even sure. He didn't make a copy of it or anything, did he? Or perhaps he took good notes?
He wrote down a complete translation in English. He said he couldn't make headway with the German version. Ludwig's handwriting was rather brogue, you know.
He wrote down an English translation. Do you still have it?
Well, unfortunately, my father was allowed to see the diary only on the grounds that he wouldn't publish the entire work. I can't let you see it. Have you tried contacting the National Archive?
No, I don't have the kinds of connections your father did, or the time.
That's unfortunate, but I really cannot let it out of my hands.
I understand. It was just a shot in the dark.
Very well. The best of luck to you.
Thank you, Mr. Chapel.
All right.
Gerda, do you have any idea where I could get a government research permit? I don't have time for a lot of red tape.
You should ask Herr Übergrau. He can maybe get such things very fast.
You think? I was gonna write Gabriel today anyway.
I'm not sure. I should get. I don't have anything to say to Herr Huber at the moment.
Gibt's das denn, die Lilien blühen schon?
Sehr schön.
Ja, aber es ist doch noch so kalt. Für Sie ein Geschenk von der Madonna.
Oh, no.
Nehmen Sie sie ruhig. Heute Nacht wird es kalt und sie wird sowieso erfrieren.
Thank you.
It was nice of Father Getz to give me one of the... This is where they found Ludwig's body. I'm trying to figure out what you want me to do. But I need more information to work with. If you can send any my way, I'd appreciate it. Have you ever heard about the wolf panels in the Singers' Hall at Neuschwanstein?
Did my brother send you here?
No?
Probably not. It's only the letter to the conductor, the wolf panels. Oh, my brother thinks I am crazy because of all my theories.
What theories?
This is Quatsch. If there was a lost opera, a lost Wagner opera, and if one could find it, to a conductor, this would be like finding King Tut's tomb. But people have looked for it before. ever existed, it is gone forever. My brother says I waste my time even thinking about it.
I'm curious. Is there any other information that points to the lost opera besides Ludwig's letter and the wolf panels?
It's nothing. I'm not even supposed to have seen it. You see, my brother says that Wagner was too egotistical to have produced a lost opera. If he was working on something new, every person in Bayreuth would have heard about it. On the other hand, it was in Ludwig's character to have wanted a private opera.
But it wouldn't have been private. Ludwig's letter shows he intended it to be played in Munich.
Yes, but that it would get so far without Wagner telling others, why keep it a secret?
Maybe there was a very good reason for secrecy.
For example?
Like... Never mind.
I don't have anything to ask Georg about at the moment. I don't have any...
Kann ich diesen Brief versenden?
Ja, 3 Mark bitte.
Dankeschön.
Bitte sehr. Brauchen Sie noch etwas?
Danke.
Bitte.
I don't have any... Hallo, Frau Gelder. Haben Sie etwas für mich?
Ja, ein Fax. Ein sehr langes Fax. Das ist aber nicht vom Schattenjäger.
Ist okay. Dankeschön. Thomas Chapel. Oh. June 1872. Louis has convinced me to think matters through more thoroughly before I act. A trip it shall be then, to Shahin. It shall not alter my purpose, I feel, nor shall his compelling. The treaty is the ruin of my beloved Bavaria, and must be taken to task. 3rd July, 1872. The pain gets so bad, I cannot hold a pen to write, but the horror is far worse than the pain. He says it was an accident, says that we can truly be one now, that it is a great adventure. I believe him 1 minute, and the next I can feel the flames of hell upon my heels. May God have mercy on my soul. 5th January, 1874. By the power of Mary, Mother of God, I swear to refrain from the ultimate sin and to remain steadfast in my flesh. Sworn by the power of the lily, Eleanor. 30th August, 1879. I will not falter, but will remain true. No matter the torment or longing, I will not yield. I will control the process. God grant me strength and will. By the grace and power of the monarchy and its allegiance. De Paul Leroy, Eleanor. 10th September, 1880. It is all finished. Elizabeth warned me, and I discovered the truth at last. O most venomous viper at my very bosom, O lowest of the least worthy who ever breathed, my Judas, my devil, if I could tear my heart out and fling it after him in the dirt, I would. 12th December, 1880. He continues to come, the devil. I will never look upon his hideous face again. He is afraid I will tell, and I might. To destroy him, I might. When I think of the accident, now that things are clear, I wonder, was it truly an accident, or was it the plot to kill me? If so, why did he not complete it then, instead of putting me in this torment? Could he have hated me so? I wish to God he had simply ended it there. 10th June, 1881. Terror. Rapture. During W's music tonight, I felt a pulling. The horror nearly came upon me right there. Then the music turned, and it was gone. What can it mean? I must confide in the great friend. Perhaps he will know what has happened. 2nd August, 1882. The experiments go better and better. W has proved as loyal and determined as ever I believed he would be in a matter of my salvation. He says he has the formula now. It remains only to put the finishing touches on the completed opera and to draw up the diagram for the crystals. Can it truly end? I scarce dare to hope. April 1883. The great friend is dead. How unjust that he should be taken from me now. Where is my chance at salvation? Why has God condemned me twice? 10th October, 1885. There must be made clear funds for the crystals. Lies. Everyone lies. My own servants. What must I do? Must I sell one of my beloved castles? The crystals must be made. I grow daily less able to control my own will. How long will I be able to resist the ultimate sin? And the music is worthless without a device. Time is running out. The crystals must be made. I don't... Have you heard of Ludwig's diary?
Yes, but no one is allowed to see it.
It just so happens that I have a copy of an English translation right here. There's something I wanted to show you. Read this one.
August 1882. The experiments go better and better. They has proved as loyal and determined as ever. It remains only to put the finishing touches on the completed opera and to make up the diagram for the crystal. My God!
Wait, I want to show you something. I am not supposed to have looked at this myself, but I am here alone all day, so...
July 1881. Richard returned from his meeting with the king. Never have I seen him so pale. I was concerned for his heart. He would not speak with me, but immediately shut himself up in his study and started working on a new project. He will not tell me the first thing about it. He will only say that it was time he repaid his king. It confirms Ludwig's diary. He wasn't crazy.
Yes, but Ludwig says that the opera was completed. Imagine that, completed. There's something else.
August 1882. We had a messenger tonight from the king. He brought a letter which Richard burnt. I did manage to see a bit of it. It said something about a great night in Munich and that it would be Richard's supreme triumph and someone else's destruction. Ludwig then wrote that even though he himself would probably die, his immortal soul would be freed thanks to Richard. I worry for poor Ludwig and for us. Where will we be if his madness continues? Surely someone will put an end to it. Wow.
There's one more.
May 1883. I sent Richard's sealed package to the king, as he instructed moments before he closed his eyes forever. I could not even bring myself to care what was in it. What could it matter now? Whatever it is, I hope it brings the king good memories of Richard. He did so much for my beloved.
The package.
She sounds delightful.
I'd love to meet her.
Oh, she's a hoot, all right. Just pretend you don't have a penis around and you'll be fine. Got this inborn need to rip them off.
Now I'm really intrigued.
This one time, I'd gone off to this, well, party, you might say. And it was getting a bit hairy. Well, Gracie... Oh.
Better. Come here, Kleiner. Detta does not speak English, but then she has her own methods of communication.
I should leave you two kids alone.
Oh, don't be silly.
Friedrich, I can't just take your date.
Why not? I didn't expect her tonight. And for some reason, I don't find myself in that mood. Besides, from what you've told me, you live like a monk down south at that castle. Your body needs some attention. Detta. Zeige ihm sein Schlafzimmer.
White sausage. I don't think she speaks much English.
Can I have some of that Weisswurst?
6 Mark, bitte. Dankeschön.
Bitte.
What should I...
The men will be meeting here later today for the trip. I'm sure they won't wait for you, so you might want to be on time.
I'll be here. Sweet of you to worry, though.
I'm not in the mood to communicate with the dead today.
Ah, guten Morgen, Gabriel. Another envelope came from Rittersberg. A request for me and a letter for you.
Gabriel, I've been busy on this case, and it's starting to pay off. Thought I'd fill you in. There's definitely something going on with Ludwig II. I'm pretty sure he was involved with a werewolf. In fact, he was probably turned into one himself. Anyway, something happened to him on this hunting trip, and afterwards he fits the profile in the lore book to a T. It's really fascinating. There's an American couple here, the Smiths. They're from Pennsylvania, if you can believe it. Mrs. Smith has been telling me all about your fortune, and she's sure you're tied in with Ludwig somehow. She also told me to warn you to beware the Black Wolf. Have you learned anything about that yet? So don't tell me where you're staying, as if I care. Really, we're supposed to be a team, Gabriel. I'm holding up my end. I've about done all I can down here, and if you want, I can join you there soon. Perhaps I'll see something I recognize from my research. I'm serious. Grace.
Christ, she's losing it. Ludwig II? A werewolf. Yeah, right.
Gabriel, there's an American...
Have any luck with that missing person search?
Oh, of course, I forgot. Frau Hogel dropped off something this morning. Yes, there are 2 forest areas where missing persons incidents are concerned. The Nationalpark Bayerischer Wald and the Naturpark Schwäbisch-Fränkischer Wald. Frau Hogel checked both these areas back 10 years. Between 1960 and 1969, there were only 1 to 2 cases a year in the Bavarian National Forest area. Between 1970 and 1990, there were 10 to 12 cases each year. Oh. In 1991, it went up to 17, then went back down to 12 in 92 and 93. The Schwäbisch-Fränkischer Wald figures are similar.
Curious.
Does something ring a bell?
If it does, I should be able to hear it loud and clear. I'm leaving this afternoon for the Bavarian National Forest. Can I bother you for another favor?
I need something translated, and I need somebody I can trust to do it.
And you're asking me? You obviously don't know German lawyers.
Harry, you're such a kidder. Okay. Here it is.
Wir müssen miteinander reden.
We should talk?
Nein.
No?
Es ist meine Karriere, verdammt noch einmal. Vielleicht sogar mehr, wenn die...
His career is in danger even if the police...
Ich habe Ihnen doch gesagt, nicht darüber zu sprechen.
I told you not to speak of it.
Aber ich denke mir, dass die Polizei bereits weiß, dass unsere Wölfe nichts damit zu tun haben. Die können einen Test machen an den Körpern.
The police must know that our wolves are not responsible. There are tests they can perform on the bodies.
Gut. Ihre geflüchteten Wölfe sind keine Killer. Was soll's? Halten Sie nur Ihren Mund. Sie sind damit besser dran.
So, your escape wolves are not the killers. What's the problem?
Aber Herr Knight, er kam gestern Morgen zu meinem Büro. Er hat viele Fragen gestellt.
He says you've been asking a lot of questions.
Worüber?
About what?
Über die Wölfe.
About the wolves. Who are these men?
Just friend. I think there's more.
Was ist los, von Aigner? Ich muss mit jemand anderem reden.
He doesn't want to talk, says he has someone else to speak to.
Ich habe mir gedacht, wissen Sie etwas über Großbergs Tod?
Do you know anything about Großberg's death?
Wieso sollte ich?
Why the hell should I?
Nun, ganz einfach. Ich gab Ihnen seinen Namen.
I gave you his name.
Und?
And?
Herr Knight, frag mich, ob ich Großberg kenne.
He says you asked him if he knew Großberg.
Was?
I think I know what happens next.
You know, it would be a great tragedy if the Ritterline were to die out. A great, great tragedy. I'm not just talking about for the sake of our firm, but...
I know what I'm doing, Harry. I don't have anything else to say right now. Well, I'm off. See you, Harry.
Goodbye.
The American P.I.
Criminal Commissar Lieber. I couldn't just call you KKL, could I?
Sit down.
How about KKK? What's the status on the case?
There's nothing new that I can share with you.
Is there anything new that you can't share with me? Okay, let's try this. You haven't found the zoo wolves yet?
No.
Have you caught anything yet?
No.
Why am I not surprised? Kind of a funny thing. I talked to Grossberg's assistant. It was a fluke, really. But she mentioned you guys took some of Grossberg's ledgers?
I told you to stay out of our business, Knight.
True, true. Why did you guys take ledgers if Grossberg was just a random victim?
As long as this case is open, I'm going by the book. That means a standard background check on the victim.
Find anything?
I don't think anyone's looked yet. We'll probably assign one of the younger men to do it. As you say, Grossberg was a random victim.
Did I say that? I don't suppose you'd let me take an eensy-weensy look at Grossberg's ledgers?
Absolutely not.
What if I could prove that Grossberg wasn't a random victim?
You're crazy.
Am I?
Look, if you have information, I want to know what it is now.
What information? Look, 5 minutes with the ledgers. If Grossberg was a random victim, my looking won't matter. And if not, I may be able to help you out. You get nothing to lose either way.
I don't believe you know anything. No papers.
If I can convince you I do know something new about this case, will you let me see Grossberg's ledgers?
I'm listening.
Good. Keep it up.
Aber ich denke mir, dass die Polizei bereits weiß, dass unsere Wölfe nichts damit zu tun haben. Die können einen Test machen an den Körpern.
Gut. Ihre geflüchteten Wölfe sind keine Killer. Was soll's? Halten Sie nur Ihren Mund. Sie sind damit besser dran.
Aber Herr Knight, er kam gestern Morgen zu meinem Büro. Er hat viele Fragen gestellt.
Worüber?
Über die Wölfe.
Ich habe mir gedacht, wissen Sie etwas über Grossbergs Tod?
Wieso sollte ich?
Nun, ganz einfach. Ich gab Ihnen seinen Namen.
Und?
You were...
The ledgers first, please.
Starter, bringen Sie Grossbergs Papiere herein. Danke, Starter. Das ist alles. I'm going out for some coffee. You'd better have something important to tell me when I get back, Knight, or you'll learn more about German law enforcement than you ever cared to know. Stella! Kommen Sie her und nehmen Sie die Papiere weg. All right. Spill it.
Herr Dr. Klingman from the zoo?
Yes?
He belongs to a men's club, right? And the guy that was asking about Grossberg, well, he's in that club too. Ditto the third guy, the one with the personality of a pit bull.
Go on.
The guy that was asking about Grossberg, he was listed in one of Grossberg's address books. They knew each other. In the club these fellas all patronize is only blocks from where Grossberg was killed. Coincidence? I don't think so.
Good work. We'll have the club investigated immediately. You'll have to leave that tape here.
Wait a minute. I'm already in with these guys. You go in there with your SWAT troop and my stool pigeon days are over.
Sorry, but I'm in charge of this case, and now I have a lead. I can't depend on a civilian to do my job. What's the name of this club?
The Friendly Wanderer. It's near the university.
Okay. I appreciate the information, but as of now, I want you to disappear. We'll handle everything.
Sure, I understand. Good luck, Lever.
The tape?
Sucker.
Hello, are you Mr. Dorn?
Yes. What do you want?
My name is Knight. I'm an associate for Grossberg's.
Grossberg. That son of a bitch owes me a lot of money. Now he's dead. Who's going to pay me, huh?
I'll be handling Grossberg's accounts. If you could just tell me what services you perform for him exactly, I can get you a check right away.
I don't talk to nobody about what I do. You pay me what I'm owed. Maybe you and I can do business together. Otherwise, I've had enough of Grossberg and his associates. Can't stand here all day. Come back when you have the cash. Don't come back at all.
Ah, Gabriel. Come in.
Hey, Harry. Could you pull some cash for me from the Ritter account?
Sure. How much do you need?
14,000 marks.
Are you sure it's wise to carry so much?
I won't be carrying it long.
All right. Frau Hogel, gehen Sie zur Bank und holen Sie mir 14.000 Mark vom Ritterkonto ab. Ja, schönen Dank. Perhaps you'd like to make out a will while we wait.
How about if I just leave everything to you?
I wish you would leave everything to me.
Thanks, darling. That's... Well, I'm off. You wouldn't take a traveler's check, would you?
No.
Didn't think so. I don't have anything like 14,000 Deutschmarks in my wallet. 14,000 marks. In cash.
Come in. Please. Not good, huh? The smell. These stinking animals. No matter how much I spray them down, they smell.
Some creatures are like that, yes.
I'd be interested in hearing your business plan, Herr Knight.
These animals. If I ever solve this case, I'll sick Liebe on this guy. What kind of exotics did you get for Grossberg?
Anything. Cats he mostly got. Things that make good coats, you know. Things you can't get on the market. But for you, you pay cash up front. I get you anything.
Can you get hippopotamuses?
Okay. Maybe not anything. But most things I can get. You need some cats soon, huh? Gorilla. I can get gorilla.
Well, it's possible. I'll let you know. Did you talk to Grossberg before he died?
Yeah, sure. A few days ago. I called the bastard for my money. He told me about you, you know.
He did?
Yeah, sure. Said he had a new business partner. And that soon he would have much money and could pay me everything. I thought he was lying. Now you show up. It's good for me he was telling the truth.
Yeah. Did Grossberg harvest the furs, or did you?
Me? I do it. Only cost 250 marks extra, and I do a good job. You get the skin all clean for that. Not the meat. You pay more for the meat.
Naturally.
But every few months, Grossberg, he wanted the whole thing live. I don't know what he did with those. I don't ask questions.
I think I know. Hey, how did Grossberg's export go?
Okay. Usually I bring animals in, not sell them out. I worked hard to find someone to take those too.
Oh, where did the exports end up anyway?
Taiwan. A zoo, they said. But I don't believe it. The restaurant is what I think.
Do they sell wolf meat at Taiwanese restaurants?
Why not? They sell tiger. Those people, they eat anything.
There were 2 wolves, right?
Yeah, sure. Male and female.
Could I see where you kept the wolf?
Yeah, sure. I kept them both in the last cage on the right. The one against the wall.
If I ever
I'm not sure what else to say.